Hair growth after a sew-in. Hair growth after the big chop. Just a simple hair growth journey for natural hair. Well, guess what? In this video, I will be giving you 6 hair growth tips that are pretty controversial. If you are excited about getting deep into this information, then make sure you get some snacks and stick around because we're getting into it. Now, before we get started, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to this video's sponsors, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands upon thousands of different classes from you to select from any genre you can possibly think of. Right now, I am deep into this one with Nidra, and let her tell you a little bit more about it.
I am Nedra Tawab. I am a therapist, content creator, and author. I love this work because I enjoy helping other people. I want to help us grow. I want to help us break patterns that keep us.
I'm already so in love with this, and guess what? The first 1,000 people to sign up through the link in the description box will get the first 30 days for free. You cannot miss out on this, and I'm telling you, her stuff right here is enough to sign up right now. So sign up, links below. Number 1 is going to be grazing the scalp. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know, like, greasing the scalp, we're supposed to grease the scalp because our hair doesn't create oil. Well, guess what, boo? That is one of the things that I need you to dismiss 100%, because the human body, regardless of your race, gender, sexual orientation, anything, your scalp produces its own oil in a gland in the scalp called the sebaceous gland. The sebaceous gland is responsible for producing oil inside of the human body, not just on the scalp. You have sebaceous glands on your face, but these sebaceous glands on the scalp are meant specifically to produce sebum. And sebum is the natural oil that the body produces. What is sebum's job? The purpose of sebum is to A, keep the hair shaft moisturized, to add nutrients to the scalp, and its main objective is length retention. If you want to know why your hair is weak and it is not strong enough, it is simply because the natural sebum that is produced in your scalp is not able to travel down the hair shaft. If sebum is needed to keep the hair shaft strong and to retain length, greasing the scalp will be the first thing that you should stop doing. Because the reason that your hair shaft is not as strong as it's supposed to be is because the natural sebum from the scalp cannot travel down the hair shaft. That is the only difference single-handedly between women of other races that have hair all the way down their back and women who grease their scalps. If you play the process of elimination and you go down the line and you ask a woman with hair that is to her butt how many times in a week she greases her scalp, she's probably going to look at you crazy and tell you that she never does, because she actually has to wash her hair to remove the oil out. You could pretty much guess where I'm going with number 2, blow drying your hair. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to be feeling a way about blow drying your hair, but I want you to remember, if right now you have a couple of bundles in your head, the bundles that you've spent hundreds of dollars on were grown out of the head of a woman who blow dry her hair on a regular basis. So the theory that blow drying your hair is going to break it off should kind of be put to rest, especially if you got some bundles in them. There's also a really big problem with you getting braids if you're not blow drying your hair first. Why? Because the hair is weakest when wet. And contrary to popular opinion, when you are doing anything to your hair, whether it's braiding it, anything to your hair, and the majority of the manipulation that you're doing to the hair shaft is when the hair is wet, then you are giving yourself mechanical damage. Instead of using heat, what you do is you go ahead and do like a wash and go, and you use all of these great products, and then you'll put your hair in a really cute top knot bun. But what ends up happening is you have hair coming up on the right side and the left side to meet in the middle for your top knot bun. But the majority of the tension is through the middle, right? Because it's being held on the side, held on this side, but all of the tension is throughout the middle. And this is why most of the videos that you saw, they all had this triangular shape breakage. Why is that? Because the ponytail, think right hand, left hand, goes like this, wrapped around the hair, squoze in tight, right? So if you take a ponytail, right, and a ponytail's like that, and then you take your hands out, it is that same exact shape, that same exact line of demarcation that you see in this video. And what is it coming from? It is coming from the fear of the freaking blow dryer. Because you guys are not blow drying your hair, what you're doing in replacement of that is putting tension on the hair shaft when the hair is wet. And it is a scientific fact that the hair is weakest when it is wet. Actually, most things around you, most porous surfaces are weakest when wet, and your hair is no different. So blow drying your hair is one of those things that will drastically change the amount of breakage that you have and the amount of length retention that you assume. Maintenance is so very important. Even if we're not talking about your hair, we're talking about the maintenance on your car, the maintenance on your brakes. You're not just doing maintenance on the brakes of your car when the brakes go out. You make sure that you have a regular maintenance routine for your vehicle or for appliances in your house to ensure that they don't give out. Because once your car gives out, once the brakes go out, that's when it's super duper expensive, right? But if you're just going in for regular maintenance to make sure that the big problems never happen, you save money. Well, guess what? With your hair shaft, it is the same exact thing. If you can make it a point to go ahead and have a regular maintenance routine for your hair shaft, then it will be so vital, and it will for sure increase the amount of length that you are able to retain. It's with over 35,000 clients in my client books, and I know it for a fact because I do online booking, so I have an exact number, and it's closer to 40,000 that I've tested all of this stuff on, that getting a trim every 10 weeks will not decrease the amount of length retention that you have. And if you're doing number 1 or number 2, you will probably barely get anything trimmed. It's the same thing with the brakes on your car. Getting a trim is just regular in maintenance. And if you're going to a cosmetologist that knows what she's doing, or if you take the time to learn what you're doing when you're trimming your hair, you will not have to get rid of that much hair. Maintenance should be number 1, because if you are getting a trim like you're supposed to, and if you are making sure that you're following certain regimens and not just leaving your hair sitting on your head for 3 months expecting that some magical fairy was up in there doing something when you weren't doing nothing, stop thinking that. Have regular maintenance. Set a maintenance routine. Get a journal, and make sure that you are being intentional, learning your hair, and really keeping up with maintenance. Number 4. I talk about this all the time, but I want to talk about it again because so many people don't, still want to argue about it. Oil detangling. Oil detangling is one of the most important things that you can do to cut out on breakage. If you want to stop your hair from breaking, if you want to hold on to all of that length, if you want to make sure that after you take out your protective styles, after you take out your sew-ins and all of that stuff, if you want to make sure that your hair is still retaining all of that length that you saw coming up through the roots, then it is imperative that you oil detangle instead of detangling your hair with water. I get comments like,
oh no girl, that may work for you, but that don't work for me.
Listen, that's like saying
gravity may work for you, but if I jump out the plane, I'm afloat. I'm not gonna go down.
yes, you are. If you are not getting good results from oil detangling, one or two things are happening. First thing is you are letting your hair get way too matted and tangled to begin with. I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody needs to play from the office. You cannot not take care of your body and then expect one little product or one little cute little method that you use or a little bit of water to go in your hair and correct everything that you've broken over the years. Most of the time, breakage and things of that nature happens when we set unrealistic expectations for our hair growth journey. If you are a person who doesn't really pay that much attention to your hair, there is no one product that you are going to use that is going to take your hair to the next level. It's just not a thing. So when you oil detangle, what you do is actually cause your hair to separate and detangle, right? But the thing is, you're not breaking the hair. Remember what we talked about? Your hair is weakest when it's wet. So the average person loses anywhere from 50 to 100 strands per day. So when you are detangling your hair, most people are like, oh my God, there's so much of my hair coming out. But in reality, what's actually happening is if your hair has already been in braids or anything in a ponytail, anything that would prevent those 50 to 100 strands of hair from coming out a day, any style that would prevent them from coming out, once you begin to comb through your hair, you will start to see those 50 to 100 strands a day that were supposed to come out. So do not be alarmed. This is the thing. If you use something, if you use an oil like hemp seed oil or walnut oil that is non-comedogenic and will not block the pores or the follicles, if you use an oil like that, it provides that word that you guys love to say, slip, right? Most people do not want to use, most people feel like using a oil isn't as good as using a conditioner, and that's such an oxymoron, because the thing that is in a conditioner that gives it its slip is oil. So if you take away the property of a conditioner that makes your hair weaker, which is water, because a conditioner is nothing but oil, emulsifying wax, and oil with, you know, a couple of different additives and some scents and a preservative. If you were to just simply extract the property in the conditioner that gives you the slip, which is the oil, and sometimes silk amino acid, right? As long as you take that out itself, you can detangle your hair with ease. Now, just a little side note, if you are somebody with extremely thick hair and you feel like even in using hemp seed oil it's not working, all you need to do is get you a little bit of silk amino specifically for hair. I cannot vouch for any other silk amino acids other than the ones that are left in the description box below. Anything else, you on your own. I don't know, but these are ones that are really good. But if you put a couple of drops of silk amino acid inside of your walnut oil or inside of your hemp seed oil, if it's not working properly for you, my love, you will have the best slip that you have ever had in your life that is 10 times better than any conditioner that you've ever used. I'm sorry, but if you find you a professional that tells you that the healthiest way for you to detangle your hair is with conditioner, she don't know what she's talking about. I'm just being honest. She don't know what she's talking about. Because the thing that gives it the slip is the oil and the silk amino acid. So just extract the oil, get you some hemp seed oil and like 2 drops of silk amino acid. Girl, detangle your hair with oil and you done. It ain't that complicated. Number 5 is steaming. Oh my God. Everybody thinks that they should be steaming. Everyone should not steam. There is one group of people that should be using a steamer, and that is people with low porosity hair. Now, this is the thing. We go from one extreme to the next. Before, nobody knew nothing about porosity, or at least weren't talking about it, and now we've gone to the absolute extreme. Just because you have low porosity hair does not mean that you have to forcibly open your cuticle every single time you sit down. And having low porosity hair also does not mean that your hair can never accept moisture. That is not what it means. The fact that you have low porosity hair just simply means that it takes a little more effort. Not it won't open at all. It just takes a little more effort. If you're steaming your hair every single time you give yourself a conditioning treatment, eventually you will give yourself a form of hydro fatigue, aka moisture overload. So just because you have low porosity hair does not mean that you have to do an extensive deep conditioning treatment every single time you do your hair. It just simply means that you're going to stay away from products that have a whole lot of protein in it. You may need every blue moon to sit under a dryer if you notice that your cuticle is a little tighter than normal. This is why you have to keep up with your hair and know the normal patterns of your hair. Don't just look and say, "Ooh, I got high porosity hair, so I gotta sit under the steamer." No, that's not how that works. Low porosity hair, once again, simply means that it takes a little bit more elbow grease sometimes, not every single time. All right, which leads me to number 6. Ooh, over conditioning. Now this is something a lot of people have a problem with. Everyone should not deep condition every week. Tops, you should only really be deep conditioning your hair once a month, unless you have color treated hair or chemically treated hair. If you have color treated hair, and when I say color treated, I'm really talking about double processed, like it used to be black, now it's a lighter color. Anything where your pigment has been removed, then I would say you could probably do a certain type of deep conditioning treatment every 2 weeks, or maybe, yeah, like every 2 weeks if you have chemically treated hair. But if you do not have chemically treated hair, boo-boo, you do not need to do a deep conditioning treatment every single time you wash your hair. And you do not need to use a conditioner and a deep conditioner at the same time. These are 2 separate products that have 2 separate jobs that should not be combined. Let me explain. A conditioner has larger molecules that are really meant to simply replace anything that the shampoo could have taken. That is it. On the surface level of the hair, the cuticle. Conditioner isn't really meant to go past the cuticle layer. And if you don't know what that layer is, our hair is broken down into 3 layers. We have our cuticle layer, which is made of dead keratin cells, because your hair made of keratin. And then under that, we have the cortex, where all of your melanin lives, all the pigment that's in your hair. And then we have the medulla, which not everyone has, but we'll talk about that in a second. Or we talk about it on the Guru VIP, so, or no, the Guru 101, so join in. But a conditioner is only meant to replace, like I said, what the shampoo has taken, and to protect the hair from styling, from basic styling on the cuticle layer. A deep conditioner is meant to go deeper within the hair shaft. I'm telling you, it's not rocket science. Like, the hair industry, we keep stuff pretty simple because we all have a whole lot of different clients, so we want everything to be straight to the point. Stop making up stuff. What the bottles say is how it go, okay? Hair's cortex is where things pop off. If you have color treated hair, and for example, you had dark hair and now it's blonde, what you did, you opened the cuticle, which is the first layer, and then you went within the cortex, which is the second layer, to pull out the melanin and to put new pigment inside. So you would go ahead and do a deep conditioner treatment maybe every 2 weeks, because you want to ensure that what you removed from the cuticle, not the cuticle, the cortex, what you removed from the cortex did not take too much out of the hair, but yet and still you're also knowing your hair, because there is a such thing as too much deep conditioning even with chemically treated hair, you know? So I really hope that that makes sense. But conditioners and deep conditioners should not be used on the same day. I need you to remember, if you put a conditioner in your hair, you already put a protective barrier on top of the hair shaft. So nothing's happening when you go back and follow it up with a deep conditioner, because your hair shaft is already protected by the regular conditioner. So just flat irons and blow dryers do not damage the hair, but the person who is using the tool improperly is the person who is damaging the hair. I really hope that these 6 tips helped. I know I talk kind of fast, but I mean, it's just what I do when I get excited. If you want more tips like this, then make sure you check the link in the description box. Head over to my blog because I have so much more for you over there. And if you want some one-on-one attention from me, make sure that you join one of my memberships. We now have 3 tiers that I am so excited about. Guru 101, we have Guru Elite, and Guru VIP, baby. Make sure you check the link in the description box below so you can get a detailed breakdown of what comes with each level and each tier of these memberships.